Rimoni Chong was responsible for the integrity of the finances of the state of Samoa from 1992 to 1995. As Auditor General, his task was to ensure that public expenditure was transparent and properly accounted for. He quickly realized that in Samoa, a small and isolated country where traditionally strong family ties favor the spread of nepotism, the extent of corruption in government had become such that he could no longer keep quiet.
The corruption in the government sector was rampant. The political sector, particularly leading up to the time of general elections, and immediately after, that's when corruption gets really out of hand.
So he persistently refused to authorize illegal payments to cabinet ministers. In 1994, he produced an annual report for Parliament in which he identified many improper activities and payments involving public money, implicating 6 out of 13 cabinet ministers as well as many senior public servants.
My fundamental belief is that everyone has good and bad in them. And that's why it's important to nurture, nourish, and encourage the good side of us, so that it becomes the dominant factor in directing our lives, and discourage as much as possible the corrupt and the bad character.
The accused cabinet struck back and appointed a commission of inquiry not to investigate the alleged cases of corruption, but to look for evidence to personally discredit Sua Rimoni Chong as Auditor General. The commission, which contained many of the accused ministers themselves, concluded that Chong had to leave his post, claiming he had overstepped his powers. But losing his job was not the only price he had to pay for fighting against corruption.
When my report came out, the Prime Minister in Parliament alleged that the report was politically motivated. It was motivated by the opposition, and that I was siding with the opposition. Then after that, Cabinet, wrongly and unlawfully in my view, surcharged me for costs of auditing the inland revenue.
Not deterred by such threats, Sua Rimoni Chong took the government to court to appeal against his unjust dismissal, which furthermore breached the Samoan constitution. But instead of coming to his help, Parliament actually changed the constitution, thus making a lawsuit against the government a long and costly enterprise. To this day, Samoan courts have failed to rule on his case, protecting the government by continuously delaying his case. Today, Sua Rimoni Chong has a private accounting practice, but he feels the battle against corruption in the Samoan government must go on.
We can only minimize it and control it, and that's why it's important to create environments that control these things and minimize the impact of corruption on the lives of the people.
The great financial losses and the personal prejudice he has suffered in his efforts to expose corruption have not broken Sua Rimoni Chong's will. He is determined to turn his small island nation into a less corrupt, more transparent society.
We need integrity in government. Government's about law and money. And if the money is stolen from the people, particularly by the chiefs and the ministers and the civil servants, the government's not going to run very well. Chong stood up and said, "Ministers, what you're doing is wrong." And it was a very brave man who did that.